Hello everyone, my name is Shinmin Tagizo and thank you so much for tuning in. It is once again time to talk about a newly released hero in the original server, where you guys have the battle points and are asking yourselves if this hero is worth it. So here we go again. Let us talk about this new hero, DEEroth, or DYRROTH, or DYRROTH, whatever his name is. The new fighter hero to enter the Land of Dawn in this hero review. So who the frick is DEEroth, you ask? Basically, he was a baby of a king and queen, but then he got kidnapped by an evil witch, Alice, because who the heck leaves a baby by a big open door window like that? And then he was raised by the witch, so she can suck off the life out of his magical hair to keep herself young and never aging. Yep, can't wait for Disney Mobile Legends skins. But seriously, DEEroth is the Prince of the Abyss and is a fighter hero specializing in bursting down people. He does a lot of instant damage and is a pretty mobile guy. To understand more of how DEEroth works, let's talk about his skills one by one. And again, this isn't a guide on how to play DEEroth or what the best builds are for him. We're just gonna review him so I can help you guys decide if you want to buy him or not. So let's begin. His passive is a lot of things. First, there's this bar under his HP that you can fill up twice, and each of the two bars you can use to do an empowered version of your skill 1 and skill 2. The bar can be filled by doing basic attacks and hitting enemies with your skills, but it fills up even more during your third basic attack, which is an area around you kind of basic attack. So this is also part of your passive. You attack twice and then your third attack is a spinning move that damages everyone around you. But basic attack effects like lifesteal or crit don't work with this spin. Instead, the game treats this passive or this portion of your basic attack as a skill. So effects that need skill to apply will get triggered. Another thing about this third attack spin move is it has a built-in spell vamp of its own, giving you back some HP based on how much damage you did. But that's not all. The spin move also reduces the cooldown of your skill 1 and your skill 2. So attack speed items to trigger this passive more might be a good idea. Or you can just get cooldown reduction items so you don't have to rely on this passive to reduce your skill 1 and skill 2's cooldowns. I don't know. His skill 1 is this shuriken-like thing he throws in front of him, dealing multiple damage to enemies in the path. It also slows down targets you hit, and if you have at least one bar in your rage meter, this skill gets more range, more damage, and double the slowness effect in their movement speed. The only thing unlikable about it is it's very slow. If you're trying to use this as a means to damage enemies from far away, you're just gonna have a bad time since they'll just step aside and watch your spinners fly by. In close range though, when you're bitch slapping your enemies with basic attacks, it's pretty decent and you'll hit enemies more since they won't have time to dodge this slow AF skill. That is why skill 2 is really important to combo with skill 1. DEEroth's skill 2 is a dash move with two parts. First part, a decent range dash that lets you go through walls, escape, uses a chase skill, everything. The second activation is also a short dash, but you need something like a hero or a jungle monster as a target. Otherwise, you won't be able to use it. The first part of the dash does some damage and it gives out a mini stun or a mini knockback. So it's enough to interrupt most channeling skills like Odette's ultimate. The second part is the better part of the skill. You jump onto an enemy instantly getting you into basic attack range, and you apply an armor reduction debuff or a physical defense reduction for 4 seconds. Have at least one bar in your rage meter and that second part of your skill 2 will become borderline overpowered. You get bigger range so you can jump onto enemies from further away. The damage you deal will be increased. You deal 90% slow effect on the target, an effect that wasn't there in the normal version of the skill, and instead of a 50% armor reduction, you reduce 75% of the enemy's physical defense, making them all set up to die from whatever comes next after all of that. It's really hard to find anything bad about this mobility plus damage plus slow plus armor reduction skill. I guess it's just pretty crappy when you can't use your second part of dash if there's no valid target like heroes or jungle monsters. You can't even use it on minions. And the range of the second part of skill 2 is pretty shit if you don't have rage in your meter. So I don't really see a reason not to fill up the bar first before using this skill. Now let's go on to DEEroth's skill 3. or ultimate. It looks like this Hellcurt skill 2 on crack. It's actually a pretty basic skill. You stand still for 1 second charging up your spikes, and then you let out all these pointy things in front of you. Anyone in the path is dealt up to 1250 damage at max level, not including damage items, but that's not all. You also deal additional physical damage that is equal to 80% of the enemy's missing HP. So if they're missing like 1000 HP, you deal additional 800 damage. It's like a Balmud ultimate or a Martis ultimate minus the true damage. So using this skill on dying heroes will only speed up their death. It guarantees you a kill if you get a hit. If the enemy is around like 50% or maybe 30% HP, and they take this skill to their faces, they're dead, boy. You can even use this ultimate to secure turtles, lords, and crabs when the HP on those monsters are low enough to deal insane objective securing damage. So I think it's a pretty good skill, massive damage in one blow, but the slowness of the execution of it is what balances it, I guess. Enemies can easily see you charging up those spikes and will just get out of the way. But Flicker works in repositioning your ultimate, and Petrify can be used during the ult animation so you can feel like a standing Hellcurt or stop enemies from leaving the range of your skill. Okay, so now that we know all about his skills, how is he in real games? I spammed DEEroth for a couple of hours in the advanced server, even before his release, so I can prepare this video for you guys, and I find that he's more of an assassin than a fighter. He's got HP sustain or spell vamp from his passive, but it's just very little. And if you get stunned and take damage from multiple enemies, you're almost instantly dead because of your squishiness. That is why eventually throughout the games that I played, I ended up building him high damage with the playstyle of surprise enemies from bushes as much as I can. I found out that if you have a bar or two in your rage meter, with a single combo of skill 2, 2, 1, 3, Petrify, you can delete most mages and marksmen and have everyone else be in extremely low HP after your barrage. Even tanks. Yes, even tanks can get ripped apart by DEEroth provided that you have used an empowered skill 2 on them, lowering their physical defense by 75% before you proceed to end them. This built-in armor reduction in his skill is something not all Mobile Legends hero has, so I can imagine him being a good pick against a multi-tank enemy team. His insta-kill potential is very high, provided that you can surprise enemies and that you get the first strike. When it comes to mobility, he is very mobile when chasing enemies since you get to dash twice, like the first part dash and then second part onto the enemy. When escaping, not so much since you can't use your second part of your skill to do a double dash. But you can use it on jungle monsters to jump over walls, so I guess that's good. DEEroth is a very squishy guy, so make sure you don't treat him like a fighter unless you plan on building a tank item or two on him. But his damage, I got nothing to complain about that at all. He has more than enough. Now, what about the bad things about DEEroth? He's pretty good with the damage and mobility and all, but he has no stun at all. I guess that's okay since he deals a lot of damage and he has this mini knockback on his skill 2. But hey, just gank with a tank or support that can provide you the CC or the stun. If not, then get Petrify so that you can have a stun. Another bad thing about him is most of his skills are skill shots, meaning they are less accurate than heroes that have auto target on their skills. This also means that you have to practice. You have to get used to the speed of the projectiles that comes out whenever you use your skills. The second part of your skill 2 auto targets heroes, but your skill 1 and skill 3 requires aiming, which makes it worse since most of your skill damage comes from those two, your skill 1 and your skill 3. But that's okay, practice is the key. Or spam the skills until you get lucky and hit something, right? And lastly, for a fighter, he doesn't have any damage reduction effect on his skills, or he also don't have any skills that give him shield, which most fighters have. So I really think he should just be treated an assassin instead of a fighter. This is the build that I found most success on, so feel free to try it out. It's not a final build and you can choose to change it up yourself, of course. But this build will give you enough damage to insta-kill combo squishies and have enough attack speed to trigger your passive often. Let me know if it works for you in the comment section below, or if you have a better build that you want people to know about, that works too. For battle spells, I personally prefer Petrify so enemies can't dodge my ultimate, but Flicker to reposition your ultimate is also good, and it also allows you to use it as an escape or an extra blink skill in case you need it. All in all, I think DEEroth is an above average hero that won't be easy to master. He's really good at deleting enemy marksmen and mages if he gets a jump onto them, but on the other hand, he can get deleted pretty easily as well once caught. But once you get the hang of his survivability, how much damage he can take, how much damage he can give, when he can fight and when he must retreat, his proper skill order and combos, and the proper time to get into team fights, he is a hero that can make enemies back away in fear. And I rate this hero a perfect 5 out of 7. And that is all I have to say about DEEroth and my experience playing him in the advanced server. Now it's your turn to comment down below. Let everyone know what you think about this hero and if you're gonna buy him upon his release or not. And again, thank you so much for watching this episode of Hero Review. My name is Shinmen Tagizo and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace!